This is the sound of a Jurassic bone shattering. In the world of dinosaurs, predators usually get all the glory. The T-Rex has the bite, the raptor has the speed. But 150 million years ago, the most dangerous weapon didn't belong to a hunter, it belonged to a grazer. A slow, heavy plant eater with a brain the size of a lime. Meet the Stegosaurus, the walking tank of the Jurassic. For decades, scientists called it dumb, slow, an evolutionary mistake. But modern science has revealed a different story. Today, we are going inside the beast to answer three massive questions. 1. What were those giant plates on its back actually for? 2. How did this walnut-brained creature defeat the lions of the Jurassic? And 3. Why did they suddenly vanish from the Earth long before the asteroid ever hit? First, let's talk specs, because movies often get the scale wrong. A full-grown Stegosaurus stenops was massive. We're talking up to 30 feet long. That's roughly the size of a standard school bus. They weighed in at nearly 7 tons. To put that in perspective, that's heavier than an African elephant or a modern battle tank. But here is the paradox. Inside that massive 7-ton body was a brain weighing only 80 grams. That is roughly the size of a walnut or a lime. For years, paleontologists couldn't believe an animal this big could survive with the brain this small. It led to one of the most famous myths in history, the second brain. Early scientists found a hollow space in its hips and thought, aha, it must have a backup brain in its butt to control the tail. Sorry to disappoint you, but that's a myth. That space was likely for a glycogen body, a massive energy storage center for the nervous system. Stegosaurus wasn't smart. It didn't do math. It didn't plot revenge. It was built for one thing only, survival. So let's look at the stats. Stego scorecard, round 1. Size, 9 out of 10, an absolute unit. Intelligence, 1 out of 10, literally bottom of the class. Speed, 2 out of 10. With a max speed of roughly 10 miles per hour, you could probably outrun it. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, or rather, the kites on the back. The 17 distinctive plates running down its spine. What were they for? Unlike the Ankylosaurus, whose armor was fused directly to its bone, Stegosaurus plates were floating in the skin. They were fragile. If a T-Rex bit one, it would snap. So they weren't armor. Current theories suggest they were biological billboards. Because the plates were filled with blood vessels, Stegosaurus could likely pump blood into them, turning them bright red. Imagine a 7-ton lizard suddenly blushing at you. It's a terrifying warning to predators. I am big, I am healthy, and I am dangerous. Or it was a flashy signal to attract a mate. But fueling this display required energy. Stegosaurus was a low browser. It didn't chew like a cow. It had a sharp, toothless beak to slice through ferns and cycads, swallowing them whole to let its massive gut bacteria do the work. Time for the scorecard. Round 2. Style and display, 10 out of 10, the punk rockers of the Jurassic. Diet efficiency, 6 out of 10, quantity over quality. Armor rating, 4 out of 10. The plates look tough, but they were mostly for show. But what happens when the warning fails? What happens when the lion of the Jurassic, the Allosaurus, decides to attack? Stegosaurus couldn't run, so it did something else. It stood its ground. This is where the anatomy gets brilliant. Its front legs were short, its back legs were long. This gave it a pivot point. It could swing its rear end around with terrifying speed, keeping its tail pointed at the threat. And at the end of that tail, 4 spikes, up to 3 feet long. Scientists actually call this the Thagomizer, named after a cartoon by Gary Larson. It's the only scientific term derived from a joke. But the damage it caused was serious. We have fossil proof, an Allosaurus tailbone with a puncture wound that perfectly matches a Stegosaurus spike. The force of a Stegosaurus tail swing could shatter bone. It was a precision strike weapon controlled by that simple nervous system. One hit to the leg, and the cricketer is crippled. In the wild, a crippled predator is a dead predator. Stego scorecard. Round 3. Defense, 8 out of 10. Weapon lethality, 10 out of 10. The Thagomizer is legendary. Agility, 3 out of 10. Slow-moving, but deadly when pivoting. Stegosaurus was a survivor, but it didn't survive until the end. By the time the T-Rex showed up, the Stegosaurus had already been extinct for millions of years. Why? It wasn't an asteroid. It was likely progress. As the world changed, new plants, flowering plants, began to take over, and new armored dinosaurs, the Ankylosaurus, appeared. They were lower, wider, and better defended. The Stegosaurus, with its specialized diet and high-maintenance body, simply couldn't compete. They were the glorious, bizarre titans of their time, a testament to nature's creativity. They proved that you don't need a big brain to dominate the Earth for millions of years. You just need a really, really big stick. So, who would win in a fight today? A Stegosaurus or an Ankylosaurus? Let me know your bet in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next prehistoric adventure.